So what are some of the like techniques or things you do to kind of scale the local edge side of the business where you could go ahead and manage hundreds and hundreds of clients? Like what is like I guess there's a rep, there's an agent, there's a representative for each client, right? They have like a rep?
Yeah, they'll have
each client, each rep has how many clients usually? But first, a quick message from our sponsor. Finding a good SEO partner that specializes in content marketing can be hard. Since 1999, Internet Marketing Ninjas has built its reputation on SEO and content marketing strategies. Internet Marketing Ninjas is run by Jim Boykin. I've known Jim for close to 20 years now. He's been a very hands-on SEO, he's a very hands-on CEO as well, and he's built a great team at the Internet Marketing Ninjas. From what I hear, their clients are very happy with them too. The Internet Marketing Ninjas could also help you with your core web vitals and page experience update. They're very hands-on with that. They'll make the changes for you, not just provide the audit. So check them out at internetmarketingninjas.com.
We do a lot of things in teams,
okay.
Right? It becomes difficult, and the one thing we've learned over the years is you can't put too much on someone's plate.
Right.
And if you don't give them the tools to manage that workload, it's just going to be too much, and they're not going to be able to dedicate enough time to the campaign. But if you're trying to provide it for small businesses, you have to have kind of a high workload.
Right.
So what we've done over the years is built a lot of really good internal reporting, and it's not really stuff we outsource. We have a very good IT team, a good development team, and a really good business reporting or business intelligence team. And they'll create reports that my team can use to set priorities, right? So if you have 100 campaigns under your belt, you could schedule your day out to look at each one, or you could get smart about it and find key metrics that you need to understand and have those key metrics prioritized. So if you have a list of 100 accounts, and we built a report behind that says, here's the 10 accounts that need to be looked at today, and here's why they need to be looked at. The rankings for, now say we're doing an SEO campaign and we're targeting 15 keywords, right? Some of those keywords should be, we think, based on our experience, should be ranking faster, should be moving up faster. Or some of those keywords are perfectly fine where they are, and this is the work that's needed. So we kind of set it up that way so that a strategist can come into their day and kind of see what's the top priority, attack that, and then once they're done with that, move on to their other tasks throughout the day. That and really good kind of project management systems that are really managing your tasks and letting the strategists and venture campaigns know what to do next and track that, right? Because if you have hundreds of campaigns you're overseeing, there's a lot of information that you need to look at before you make moves.
Right.
All that information needs to be stored somewhere, quickly, easily accessible. And then you need to track what you did. Like, what did you do that month, so that next month when you're looking at that campaign, you can go back and read what you did. And if another party, a strategist on your team, is taking over that work, they can go back and see what you did without missing a step. So over the years, we kind of built those things, and we're always iterating them. Like, of course, always finding new ways to try to improve that.
That's great. I mean, I love the concept of looking for ways to make your internal processes more efficient, trackable, manageable. Is there any automation in there where you're saying this data point triggered this, we're going to go ahead and push this change to the SEO or ads or whatever?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of automation and then just strategist touch, right? I never wanted to get too automated.
Right.
There's definitely systems we could buy off the shelf that's going to just run the campaign for you, but we try to find software and build systems internally that provide a level of automation that lets the strategist know what to do next, but they also have to think, is that really the right thing that I need to be doing next? And it's kind of just giving guidelines, and then they follow the guidelines.
Right.
But using, we've used for SEM, we use Kenchu, which is now Sky, which has really helped us manage at scale. We use Matchcraft for another set of our campaigns. So we're always looking for good partners that kind of help us manage the workload. But that on top of good strategists that are constantly being trained, I think is a good mix.
Right. Cool. Let's move into the next topic. I think you wanted to talk a little bit about how to kind of scale your digital marketing service provider. specifically from 5 to 15 to 30 to 150 full-time employees and
Yeah.
stuff. That seems challenging. How fast do you scale?
Yeah, I learned that. I learned that the hard way along the way. When I started at LocalEdge, the experience I had was managing campaigns myself. I was doing SEO, SEM, social media, web design development, and my first kind of step into leadership was at LocalEdge. And at the time, it was a team of 8, and we had maybe 100 campaigns. But it was right at the precipice of our growth.
Right.
So we went from 8 to 150 in no time.
Wow.
I learned a ton along the way. I did some good things. We did some bad things. But I would say that, it's when you have to scale like that, or you have the opportunity to scale like that, hiring the right people is very important, for sure. Trying not to rush into hiring is a piece of advice I have. You need to get 5 employees quick, for example, within the next couple of weeks, right? Because you have all this work coming in. So you might rush and hire the wrong employee because you're trying to hire quickly.
Right.
Thinking about bodies versus thinking about the right person for the role. And then I would also say building the reports I was talking about earlier, like priority reports. Figuring out how to give your strategist a priority list so they're not just overwhelmed when they come in every day. We built that a couple years into it, right? It wasn't pre-built, right? And there was a part of it that was pre-built, but we had to keep changing it and changing it. So giving your strategist and your team the tools to do a good job is important, making sure you don't hire too quickly. And I would just say having a really good, solid process. And processes can be followed, but not everybody follows them the right way.
Right.
So what we did for a while was built a great process and said, here's the process, follow it. But there wasn't a process on top of that process all the time to check if the process was followed, right? So it becomes this it's almost like you're a digital marketer, but now you're running this almost factory with operations and audits and quality control checks. And we just built those in every single year. We would build a new layer in. And it, over time, you just become a strong operation. But, those are definitely some of the things I would say. If you were an agency that had 10 employees, you can touch every campaign all the time. You can pay 100% attention to it. But when you need to get to 50, kind of the game changes a lot when you have a lot of clients, and you want to give the clients the right amount of attention, but you have to be able to give your strategist the tools to do that.
Right. I totally agree. Again, this is like the stuff that we build these types of solutions for our company. I don't do SEO, SEM. I build these solutions to stay on top, to build the process, the workflow for your employees, so they know what they have to work on that day. Like you said, they could have their, this is the process you should do, but you have to actually enforce that process. And some of the tools you could build could actually enforce it and double check and validate those processes went through the process. So I definitely think, scaling, the only way to do that is to have those systems in place. But at the same time, like you said, you have to learn what to build in those process, as you start hiring people. So what your challenges are, and what you have to kind of what processes you have to have when you have 5 or 10 employees, totally different when you have 100 employees.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with you in terms of kind of learning the hard way is sometimes the only way to do it, especially for a new company like that. There are people that obviously, get hired and kind of think about these things ahead of time. But from my experience, what their plan doesn't always actually work out in terms of what you want to. I'm sure you built your software and changed it, you said, numerous times.
Yeah, none of our plan, my plan, our plan, and the leadership team, it's always different than what actually happens.
Right. And that's because you implement something, you see how people do what they're doing, and something you didn't even think about, they're trying to find a loophole around it, or they're doing something and they're taking an action that you thought they would do X, but they're doing Y. Yeah. And you learn from that, and you iterate, like you said. So.
Yeah, it's good. It's kind of good that you brought that up, because I think where we are today now, and just even the stuff I was doing today at work, we do a lot more piloting. We'll open up a new product or a new service to just a subset. And it seems obvious that you should always do that, but when you're growing fast and you're in the middle of it, you don't think that. You don't say, stop, let's just do it for 10 clients first. You want to roll it out for everybody and then fix it. But we would Now we kind of take little subsets and figure out, okay, how can we improve that process before we roll it out to the masses?
Okay. And you have so many clients, so what are your advice for, I guess, the clients on how to best work with an agency like yours or any agency?